There was a point in my life when I thought exhaustion was normal, when I believed that constant pressure, endless striving, and never slowing down meant I was doing things right. Looking back, I can see it clearly now. I wasn't thriving, I was surviving. And the moment I realized that, everything in my life started to shift. We often think of survival mode as something dramatic, a life or death moment, a crisis, a trauma response. But for many of us, survival mode looks much quieter. It looks like constantly saying yes when you mean no. It looks like pushing through fatigue because you're afraid to slow down. It looks like being fine all the time, even when you're not. Survival mode is when your body and mind are still wired for danger, even when the danger is gone. It's not weakness, it's adaptation. The problem is when you live that way for years, it becomes your normal. I remember the exact moment it hit me. It wasn't during a crisis or breakdown. It was an ordinary Tuesday morning. I was sitting at my desk staring at a screen full of emails and realizing I couldn't remember the last time I felt calm. Not productive, not busy, calm. I had built a career I was proud of, but beneath it, I was running on adrenaline. Every day I felt like a race I couldn't stop running. And even when I hit my goals, the relief lasted about 5 minutes um, before I was chasing the next one. That's when I started to ask myself, why do I feel like I'm always running from something even when I'm standing still? The answer came slowly but clearly. I wasn't living for meaning anymore. I was living for safety. I wasn't building, I was surviving. Survival mode can be tricky because it often hides behind competence. You can be high functioning and still be in survival mode. You can look successful and still be in stuck in self protection. It shows up as overworking to avoid failure, numbing with busyness, avoiding stillness because you're afraid of what might surface, measuring your worth by what you produce. And it's not just individuals. Our culture rewards survival mode. It celebrates grind, hustle, and burnout as badges of honor. So when you're deep in it, you can't tell it's survival because it just feels like life. By midlife, most of us have carried decades of responsibility. We've been the dependable ones for our families, our employers, our communities. And over time, we stop checking in with ourselves. We stop asking, what do I actually need? What do I really want? We just keep going because slowing down feels risky. But here's the truth. Survival mode is not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that your nervous system has been working overtime to protect you from pain, uncertainty, or loss. It's trying to help. It's just been running the same program for too long. Once I realized I was in survival mode, I started to make small but powerful changes. The first was awareness. I began noticing how often I said yes when my body wanted to say no. I started paying attention to the tension in my chest, the racing thoughts, the inability to rest. And instead of pushing through it, I got curious about it. That curiosity was the beginning of healing. Then I started creating small pauses in my day, a few minutes to breathe, reflect, or step outside, not to perform self care, but to remember I was a person and not a machine. Finally, I began redefining success. I stopped chasing constant productivity and started asking, does this feel aligned? Does this feel like me? Those questions changed everything because once you begin asking them, you can't go back to living on autopilot. If you're listening to this and realizing, yeah, I think I might be in survival mode too, please hear this. You're not failing, you're not behind, you're not broken. You've simply been surviving and your system is tired. This awareness isn't the end of the story, it's the start of a new one. The shift from surviving to living doesn't happen overnight. It happens in moments. Moments when you say, I'm done running. Moments when you choose presence over performance. Moments when you let yourself rest without feeling guilty. These moments are where you start to reclaim your life. When I look back now, I can see that survival mode shaped me, but it also led me here. It taught me empathy, it taught me resilience, and it gave me a deep understanding of why so many people reach midlife feeling successful but unsatisfied. Because I've been there, and I know what it's like to look fine on the outside but feel empty on the inside. But I also know this: you don't have to stay there. You can learn to feel safe enough to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect, to actually enjoy your life again. That's not luxury, that's healing. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have you ever realized you were living in survival mode? What helped you start shifting out of it? And if you want more tools and real conversations about moving from survival to alignment, subscribe and join me here each week. Because when you finally stop surviving and start living, everything begins to change.